Has Jennifer Lopez always been afraid of Diddy? Well, a Resurfaced interview has come to light and her reaction is questionable. Comments Jennifer Lopez made about her ex-boyfriend Sean Puff Daddy Diddy Combs in a 2002 interview have resurfaced amid the music mogul's bombshell trial. The rapper is currently on trial after pleading not guilty to allegations of SA and illegal human transporting by force, fraud, and coercion, and conspiracy, and transportation to engage in solicitation. An old video of Jennifer Lopez has resurfaced where the singer was asked in an interview if she ever felt afraid of Diddy. The video of Jennifer Lopez is from an interview back in 2002, and the resurfaced clip has everyone talking whilst, the Diddy trial continues. Now, a year after their 2001 split, Lopez reflected on the romance in a primetime special edition interview with Diane Sawyer, who asked her again, if she was afraid at all during her whole relationship with him. Diane Sawyer asked Jennifer Lopez about Diddy in the resurfaced clip, referring to a picture of the pair of them on the red carpet when they were actually dating. Sawyer asks, and she says, what about Sean Combs, Puffy, P. Diddy, the man who, courted controversy if not outright danger? He always seemed to be the one in control. We wondered, looking at the girl on the red carpet, who was she? Was she afraid? Jennifer Lopez replies, no. I don't think she was afraid. I just think that, I at the time was, I cared very deeply for Sean, and we just didn't have the same kind of ideals about life and family and stuff like that. It just wasn't a good relationship for me. It didn't have so much to do with him as it had to do with me at the time. I had to learn to care about myself a little bit more and put up certain boundaries of what I would accept and wouldn't accept, because really he was just being himself. He wasn't doing anything wrong, and he felt like he loved me very much, and I know he did, and I felt like the same way. So if I was unhappy in some way, then I was the one who had to do something, not him. He was doing everything he wanted to do. Diddy and Jennifer Lopez began dating around 1999. Now, their relationship was glamorous and high profile, marked by red carpet appearances, tabloid attention. However, things took a very dramatic turn in December 1999 when the couple were in a nightclub bangout in New York City. Although both were arrested, Lopez was quickly cleared while Diddy faced a very lengthy legal battle before being acquitted. Jennifer Lopez's resurfaced 2002 interview left, people saying she dodged a big one by parting ways with Diddy. Now, one user commented under the resurfaced interview on Instagram saying she dropped him like a hot potato. She took the opportunity of his legal troubles to leave. Perfect timing. He likely was walking on eggshells with the law at the time. Another said she ran for her life from him when she realized who he really is. Whereas a person added, good for her, glad she got out. Another person said, she ran in time, it makes me happy. She's not guilty of anything, she just ran and protected herself because no one else would do it for her. Jennifer Lopez's interview, resurfaced just a few days after another clip showing her mother, Guadalupe Rodriguez's irate reaction to a question over her possible romantic reconciliation with Diddy. It regained a lot of attention. The incident actually took place on Wendy Williams' famed talk show, where she asked Lopez, so if you recall, the last time you were here, I was telling you that I could always see you guys getting back with Puffy in a little way, back together. Now, the Hollywood diva chuckled over the question and flung her head back before responding, I remember you said that. Is J.Lo hiding anything, or is she really oblivious to it all?
In a heart-wrenching moment, Jennifer Lopez is left devastated as Jay-Z betrays her in a way no one saw coming. But that's not all. Hidden secrets about J.Lo's past are finally coming to light, and they're more shocking than anything we've ever heard. Why is Jay-Z turning on her now? And what are the dark truths she's been hiding all these years? Stay tuned to find out how this explosive drama unfolds. In an unexpected twist, Jennifer Lopez, one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, was left utterly devastated after someone she trusted, the very lawyer who has stood by Jay-Z's side for years, betrayed her in the worst possible way. And what's worse, this betrayal may have exposed her name in a high-profile legal case she never wanted to be associated with. For those of you who may not be up to speed, here's what you need to know. Earlier this month, a woman filed a civil lawsuit accusing Jay-Z and Diddy of SA back in 2000 when she was just 13 years old. The lawsuit contains several shocking allegations, and it sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. In the lawsuit, there's a reference to an unnamed individual called Celebrity B, who was allegedly present during the assault. However, the lawyer who filed the case was careful not to name anyone by name, except Jay-Z. And they kept the identity of Celebrity B under wraps, leaving the public speculating about who this mysterious person might be. But in a turn that no one saw coming, Jay-Z's response to the lawsuit, where he calls the allegations part of a false extortion plot, was far less discreet. Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Shapiro, may have made a huge slip-up. In his legal filing, Shapiro claimed that Diddy was with none other than Jennifer Lopez on the night of the alleged assault.
You know, she's one of the most beautiful people in the world, and I'm a pretty nice guy myself.
Yes, you heard that right. Jay-Z's lawyer, in trying to dismiss the case, may have just exposed J.Lo's name, something that could have serious consequences for her reputation, her career, and her privacy. Until now, Jennifer Lopez's team has remained silent. They didn't need to comment because, until that moment, her name wasn't even associated with the case. No one connected J.Lo to this lawsuit. But now, things are very different. Thanks to Alex Shapiro's legal filing, J.Lo's name has been dragged into this scandal, and it's a situation no one expected. Jennifer Lopez and Sean Diddy Combs dated from 1999 to 2001.
People didn't really take it as a serious relationship, but we really loved each other.
Their relationship was one of the most talked about celebrity romances of the time, drawing significant media attention. And now, with these new allegations, J.Lo might be more involved than we originally thought. It is even speculated that Ben Affleck chose to divorce J.Lo because of these allegations, and he didn't want to be involved with this case at all. It's a case that's already shaking up the world of entertainment and legal circles. The lawsuit also mentions another individual, referred to as Celebrity A, who was allegedly a witness to the assault. Her name is now linked to one of the most serious and high-profile lawsuits in Hollywood right now. The public will no doubt want answers. So, was this an accident? Or is Jay-Z's lawyer trying to manipulate the situation to protect his client at the expense of J.Lo? Did he expose Jennifer Lopez's name on purpose, or was it an unintended consequence of defending Jay-Z? One thing is for certain, this case is far from over. And Jennifer Lopez may now have a much bigger fight on her hands than anyone expected. From the Jay-Z betrayal to something a little bit more sinister. Jennifer Lopez has been trying to protect her reputation and image for years. But what if everything we know about her is a lie? We will reveal the sinister secrets J.Lo has kept hidden from the world, secrets that could destroy her carefully crafted persona. From her hidden past to the shocking truth behind her rise to fame, this is the one revelation you won't want to miss. Let's talk about her infamous relationship with Diddy. We now know that she might have been more involved with these most recent SA party allegations, but there is another dark story from her past with Diddy. Jennifer Lopez and Diddy's relationship in the late 1990s was a full-blown media frenzy. They were the ultimate power couple at the time, constantly photographed together, and their every move was headline news. But their romance came to an abrupt and dramatic end after a terrifying incident in December 1999. Both J.Lo and Diddy were involved in a shooting outside a Manhattan nightclub, where they had been celebrating with friends. The shooting, which also involved Diddy's then-associate, resulted in a high-speed chase and a serious legal situation. While both J.Lo and Diddy were never charged with any crimes, the public scrutiny that followed was intense. There was a lot of speculation about what exactly happened that night and how involved they actually were. Despite not being directly implicated in the crime, J.Lo's association with Diddy and the fact that she was at the scene led to an explosion of media attention, much of it negative. It wasn't just a random club incident, it became a scandal that threatened to taint both their reputations. Okay, now, let's talk about her alleged role in breaking up marriages. J.Lo has been accused of being a home wrecker in some of her relationships. Perhaps the most notable instance of this was her relationship with Ben Affleck. It has been speculated that Jennifer was partially responsible for the breakup of Ben's marriage to Jennifer Garner as their relationship blossomed while Affleck was still married. While these claims are mostly speculative and based on tabloid gossip, they might have a lot of truth to them, from homewrecker to diva. Apparently, J.Lo has a lot of strict demands that she requires from her staff. She has a no mirrors, no lights rule on set. One of the most unusual demands she's made in the past was that she would not perform any scenes unless there were no mirrors or lights in the room. This was reportedly because she didn't want to be distracted by her own image during a scene. It was also rumored that she'd go so far as to ensure that there were no reflective surfaces like windows or shiny objects that could cause any interruptions to her performance or focus. Some even say that on one occasion, she refused to do a scene because the lighting wasn't up to her standards, even though the director had approved it. There are numerous stories about Jennifer Lopez's strict rules regarding eye contact. It's been reported that when J.Lo arrives on set, she expects people to avoid looking directly at her unless she's the one engaging with them. This level of control may come off as strange or even pretentious, but for J.Lo, it's all about maintaining her queen image. Now let's talk about how she is a master manipulator. J.Lo has managed to use the media to craft and perfect her public persona in ways that some would call manipulative. When Jennifer's relationships are in the headlines, her music or movie promotions tend to follow shortly after. This is seen as a way to distract from or amplify personal narratives, depending on what's happening in her private life at the time. In fact, there have been several instances when the public became distracted by dramatic personal events, such as her engagement and subsequent breakup with Ben Affleck in 2004, and suddenly, J.Lo would have a new album coming out, or a brand new project she was involved with. The media, naturally, would shift its focus toward her professional life. This kind of timing can be seen as a deliberate tactic, almost as if J.Lo's team uses personal drama to create a springboard for her next project, ensuring she stays in the spotlight, but for the right reasons. So, from Jennifer Lopez's emotional breakdown over Jay-Z's shocking betrayal to the dark secrets that have finally come to light, this story is full of twists and turns. It's clear that J.Lo's life is more complicated than we ever imagined, and with each new revelation, we're left wondering, what else is she hiding? Do you think this betrayal will change everything for J.Lo's career and public image? And what about those dark secrets? Could this be just the beginning of a bigger story?
Diddy, as you likely know by now, has been accused of some pretty heinous things by multiple people, including some past partners. Many lawsuits have been filed against the disgraced rapper. The lawsuit alleged that Diddy and an unnamed additional male celebrity harmed her inappropriately, while another, also unnamed, female celebrity watched. The plaintiff's story in the lawsuit was she attempted to sneak into Radio City Music Hall in 2000 for MTV's VMAs, but when she was unsuccessful, she ran into Diddy's driver. The driver told her to come back after the show, and when she did, he drove her to a large white house with a gated U-shaped driveway. The plaintiff further claims that upon entering the house, she was presented with a non-disclosure agreement and asked to sign. Once inside, she claims there was widespread use of substances, and when handed a beverage, they were in there too. In a bid to find somewhere safe to rest, the plaintiff claims that she entered an empty bedroom, and it wasn't long after she entered that the trio of celebrities allegedly followed. It was then that the multiple transgression happened, ultimately halting when the plaintiff struck Diddy in the neck. She was able to eventually escape the house and return home, but of course, the night left its mark. As reported by the Daily Mail, the lawsuit claims that the plaintiff fell into a deep depression which continues to affect every facet of her life. Diddy continues to assert his innocence. Back in October of this year, the Daily Mail obtained exclusive images of allegedly the very same after-party that this incident happened at, and the photos feature what appears to be a very angry J.Lo yelling at then-boyfriend and presently accused Sean Diddy Combs. The couple appears to be towards the wall of the room that is clearly still buzzing with party energy. Diddy appears to be dressed in what he wore to Radio City Music Hall that evening, a white shirt, baseball cap, and the new addition being what appears to be a bottle in his hand. In J.Lo's case, she had changed from her event outfit of the all-white ensemble with the bedazzled bandana to a colorful diamond and striped mini dress. As the party guests dance around the couple, the vibes could not be more different. Even directly beside J.Lo is who the Daily Mail has pointed out as her sister, Linda Lopez. She has a big smile on her face in some photos. It looks like she's continuing to dance the night away. In other photos, it's unclear if they became before or after the initial argument photo. J.Lo appears to be looking at Diddy in disdain or disappointment as he pours guests glasses from the bottle in his hand. In what the Daily Mail deems the next photo in the sequence, J.Lo is seen pushing away from the alleged confrontation and walking out of frame. As these are photos and not videos, there is no way of knowing exactly what was being said while the pictures were being taken unless one of the two stars steps forward. Though with the timing of the photos being obtained so close to the lawsuit being filed, it's made people look into the images a bit closer and wonder what the apparent argument could have been about. As of right now, J.Lo is not named in the lawsuit filed by the girl harmed at the allegedly same party. The lawsuit simply states Sean Diddy Combs and two unnamed celebrities were present. If it was this party, the house would be crawling with famous faces. This after-party event was co-hosted by Eminem and Dr. Dre. Some big-name guests that were included in the series of images the Daily Mail obtained from this night include music artist Jay-Z, magician David Blaine, model Carmen Cass, and rapper Ice-T, and more. To be clear, none of these people were named in the lawsuit either, either they were simply present at the after party. There have been instances in the past when Diddy has hosted star-studded bashes that turn into his bad parties after all the talent has left. The US Sun reported that Diddy's 2005 VMAs after party went something like that. The event started as a party and was attended by big names like Eva Longoria and Paris Hilton, but the later half of the evening allegedly dissolved into one of Diddy's infamous freak-offs after the majority of the talent had left. The remaining party guests allegedly were moved from the nightclub to Diddy's mansion in the early morning, and this is where his inappropriate party happened. Footage from the later half of the party allegedly shows Diddy wearing the same outfit he had been wearing in the VMA after party pics. It's unclear if the incident at the 2000 MTV VMAs after party was a situation like that, or an isolated incident that happened during the party. Diddy is known for having an unsavory and violent past that is completely unrelated to the many lawsuits filed against him lately. Just under a year before the year 2000 after party, in December of 1999, Diddy and J.Lo were arrested after an altercation in a Manhattan club. Reported at the time was that in the club, Diddy, J.Lo, Diddy's bodyguard, and another music artist named Shine got in a disagreement that resulted in a fight. Diddy and J.Lo were not harmed inside the bar and fled the scene taking a car. Forbes reported that the couple were being chased by police, and the New York Post reported that the car ran a red light before being pulled over by the police. It was during this stop that things started to go south for the famous couple. Inside the car, police found a stolen weapon, the discovery prompting the stars being taken into custody. Present at the station where the couple was taken was retired NYPD detective Derek Parker. After the event, he spoke to the New York Post, giving them an exclusive look into what it was like in the room that night. He said there were all these high-profile lawyers barricaded in the station house waiting to talk to the desk officer, and further went on to recall that J.Lo was first handcuffed to a pole inside the station and then later held for about 14 hours in detention. Of course, like I'm assuming anyone who just experienced a club uproar and arrest like she did, the retired detective said that J.Lo appeared distressed. J.Lo ended up getting released and cleared of all charges first after that 14 hours. She later shared in an interview that she was scared to death in the car at the time. Though J.Lo was cleared of any charges, Diddy wasn't, so a trial had to take place that lasted a few weeks. In addition to the incident at the club, prosecutors also alleged that Diddy and his bodyguard tried to bribe the driver of the getaway car $50,000 in exchange for him telling the police the weapon was his. One of the victims of the incident did testify as a witness at the trial. During her testimony, she claimed that she saw Diddy pulling out the weapon with his right hand, and then very soon after feeling immense pain in her face that later turned out to be caused by the There is a tie-in to this situation and the current Diddy situation. One of the recent lawsuits filed against Diddy came from producer Rodney Little Rod Jones Jr. He filed a civil lawsuit for non-consensual relations and harassment, and in a shocking turn of events, it also seems to possibly reference this 1999 incident as well. The suit claimed that on the day Homeland Security raided Diddy's home, he displayed his and bragged about getting away with using these weapons against people. It went further, saying that Diddy also confirmed to those present that he was responsible for the New York incident with the other rapper Shine. Not only that, but that J.Lo was the one who carried the firearm into the club for him and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual. Of course, you might notice that this would make J.Lo being in possession of the item and handing it to Diddy improbable if the original victim insisted she saw him pull it out. But it's not impossible, could have happened before the altercation began. In the end, Diddy was acquitted along with his bodyguard. Though it is over 2 decades after the incident, the victim, Natanya Rubin, is still fighting for justice. She joined Elizabeth Vargas Reports for an interview earlier in the year in which she shared that she still has 9 fragments of the projectile in her face. A follow-up interview revealed that Rubin was nervous even years later about sharing her story. She also said in the interview that she wouldn't mind if the case was reopened, even going so far as to say that as long as it didn't cause any health complications, she would be willing to have a doctor remove a part of the 9mm projectile in her face to be used as evidence in court. Another interesting moment in the J.Lo Diddy relationship history is a rumor from the early 2000s that was addressed in a recent interview on Jimmy Kimmel Live. The rumor was that while Diddy was dating J.Lo in the late 90s, early 2000s, Will Smith and his wife had propositioned the Jenny from the Block singer with an invitation to join them in bed. Allegedly, Diddy wasn't too happy with that and threatened to attack Smith. Never one to shy away from anything, Kimmel straight up asked Diddy if this was true. Insert clip here. At first, the music artist made absolutely no movements, just kept his face in a very serious mask. Eventually, he did respond with, "You really heard that?" and laughed the whole thing off, claiming he didn't know what Kimmel was talking about. The talk show host played into the bit, making a remark about how one can't believe everything they hear on the internet.
Jennifer Lopez, henceforth J.Lo, filed for divorce from her husband Ben Affleck in August of this year, something which many had seen coming as they hadn't been seen together for months, and it seemed that they were slowly drifting apart. But it does seem that a simple falling out of love may not be the full story. It's no secret J.Lo dated Diddy decades ago and was likely therefore at least familiar with his freak-offs and other crimes. She was present when, in 1999, allegedly Diddy propelled lead from his hand device into 3 people at a nightclub, which was then allegedly pinned on young rapper Shine, getting him put in prison for 8 years. So suffice to say, J.Lo was pretty close with Diddy and was possibly even part of protecting him from legal consequence by denying the gat was his. When Diddy's mansion was raided, all sorts of things were recovered, from dangerous tools and illicit substances to the famed 1,000 bottles of baby oil, several toys, and even recorded tapes of his illicit and immoral activities. I could go on about how idiotic it is to both record and then store your crimes, but no one's defending Diddy, and this story is about the power couple themselves. Well, according to Suge Knight, not exactly the most innocent person either, amongst Diddy's many freak-off tapes were several tapes of J.Lo. Now, the details on what was in this footage is pretty hazy. Suge himself said they showed J.Lo doing this and J.Lo doing that, but what this and that are is unknown. That makes it pretty concerning given just what we know happened at these parties. This and that could mean anything from recreational illicit use to harder, not so recreational use, to the conducting of several illicit adult actions, potentially with multiple participants, and in possibly the worst case could show J.Lo forcibly interacting with people at these parties, which would be pretty disturbing. Well, when Diddy's mansion was raided in March, it seems that several of these tapes were recovered. By complete coincidence, this is the last time Ben and Jennifer were thought of as a happy couple, with a distinct lack of affection being noticed by reporters from May to August when the divorce was finalized. According to Suge Knight, this is no coincidence whatsoever. He believes that Ben Affleck, a powerful and famous man, was likely given or shown a copy of the tapes of J.Lo by some concerned party. Suge seems quite positive that Affleck did in fact see the videos and was troubled by them, but the details are not known. Given that the FBI is involved and is holding the evidence, it likely wasn't strictly legal for Affleck to be able to view this footage in the first place, so it leaves a big question as to how he may have received it. Diddy was a prolific recorder and allegedly recorded most of the depraved things that he coerced, manipulated, and forced other people to do. Much of this was, it's believed, intended as leverage against those people to keep them quiet and compliant. It's very possible that these videos are such leverage, possibly recorded intentionally and orchestrated to be as vile and embarrassing as possible. If so, then in a way these videos may have had their intended effect, to harm J.Lo and destabilize her life once uncovered. However, it's just as likely that these videos show J.Lo doing some pretty reprehensible things of her own will. Things Affleck may not want to be anywhere near or associated with someone who did. It does seem strange that the power couple united after decades of controversy, and right after P. Diddy's home is raided, they end up going through some marital troubles. Now, it was J.Lo who filed for divorce, as far as we can tell, but they were both clearly losing interest, judging by Affleck skipping her birthday and several other incidents. However, we do not know the circumstances the couple was under. It may be that J.Lo herself is going to end up facing criminal charges, and it's better for Ben and their kids for them to be separate. Or maybe Affleck saw something that changed how he viewed her, and she eventually couldn't stand the alienation and filed for divorce. The reporting around this subject has been really strange, with People magazine saying that she was done waiting for Affleck and that he wasn't giving her any signs that he wanted to continue the marriage. Allegedly, they'd been separated since late April. Now, that would seem to put the brakes on the idea that it was the footage that broke them up, but it may still be the case that they separated for one reason and stayed separate for another. The latest drama really starts here though. Ever since people found out about potential illicit video of J.Lo at the peak of her fame and popularity, there's been a clamoring to see it. Of course, with the evidence being held by the FBI, it seems impossible for there to be a leak, as this evidence is likely critical for the full scope of the trial. And yet, there has allegedly been a leak of some truly foul footage involving J.Lo and highly illegal CSA behavior. It's also been alleged that Ben Affleck was well aware of what was going on at the freak-offs and of J.Lo's involvement, which could put a whole new spin on things. So why are some sources stating that Ben Affleck is the source of the leak? It does fit nicely. Innocent husband finds out something horrible about his wife, divorces her, and then in revenge leaks the footage of this horrible thing. Except he didn't divorce her, she divorced him, and there's no reason to believe Affleck was the one behind the leak. If it's true that he knows more than he's let on, it's likely that both Ben and Jen are scrabbling to protect their reputations right now, and that an unrelated marriage dispute could be a good way for at least Affleck to stay out of the situation. But where did the leak come from? Well, several sources are claiming the leak was actually from rapper 50 Cent. It's no secret that 50 hates Diddy with a passion and has even been compiling a catalog of footage and recordings of the worst things Diddy has done, all with the plans of releasing a feature-length documentary sometime in the future. Allegedly, 50 leaked several videos of J.Lo doing some pretty disgusting things well after she and Diddy were apparently broken up. Now, we all know the sort of evil Diddy is, manipulative and coercive, and J.Lo herself has said several times that she was obsessed with him and very unstable at the time. Well, 50 takes this a step farther, alleging that even after their breakup, J.Lo was still obsessed and more than willing to do whatever Diddy wanted. Hence, these horrifying tapes. Some are still questioning whether J.Lo was a willing or coerced participant, and that's a valuable conversation to have, but just because one person is misused doesn't give them the right to misuse others without consequence. Most of this is speculation, as very few details have come to light. We do not have the benefit of hindsight, and we have no idea where the next twist in this story will come from. We have to slowly live through it until the trial is done and details are made public. The questions abound, however. Did the raid on Diddy's mansion lead to illicit footage of J.Lo doing incriminating acts? Well, almost certainly. But was Ben Affleck then shown those tapes? And did that then lead to a souring of their marriage? Or was Ben well aware of the depravity and it was a mutual decision to keep his name out of the limelight? Did Ben Affleck, in a vengeful rage, release the footage to the public? Or was it someone else, like 50 Cent or any other number of Diddy haters? We will be following this story very closely as it continues to evolve and develop, and I have to say I'm just dying to know the truth. I just need to know if I can listen to On the Floor guilt-free or if it has to go in the Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, R. Kelly pile of song.
One of J.Lo's past assistants has come forward and addressed J.Lo's involvement in Diddy's crime ring. And let me tell you, it's not what you think at all. Thea D'Souza, who worked with J.Lo on the 2002 film Made in Manhattan, posted a statement on Threads recently that said, "If you knew Jennifer Lopez, if you ever worked with her like I did, or if you were close with people who are like family to her like I am, you would know she did not have any idea about Diddy. She barely drinks, she's not a partier, she isn't a good time girl, she's a workaholic who uplifts women and who was charmed by him for a brief time in her life." Now, she emphasized that J.Lo does not deserve to be conflated with Diddy's shocking and criminal misdeeds. So, Thea claims that J.Lo is innocent in all of this, which is a great thing, and it's honestly good to see someone having J.Lo's back at a time like this. They've been digging up photos of J.Lo at parties and have been speculating a lot. Now, besides proof that J.Lo had been to some of his white parties, as she was his girlfriend, there's been zero proof that she had anything to do with the crimes Diddy committed, nor that she even knew about them. While her ex-assistant has stood up for her, J.Lo, for her part though, has stayed silent. And she probably will be for the time being, as she doesn't really address rumors or drama. It's obviously a sensitive subject and is something that the star doesn't want to discuss. So if you meet J.Lo, I'd suggest not asking her about Diddy. Besides, if she has something to say, she will say it eventually. It's a very sticky situation that she's in, and nobody is entitled to her opinion on the whole situation. Now, since breaking up with Diddy, J.Lo has claimed that he was unfaithful during their relationship. Now, maybe this is why she won't talk about him. She could still be hurt by all of this. Now, throughout their relationship and after their breakup, J.Lo was aware of rumors that Diddy was cheating on her. When the pair first met, Diddy essentially love-bombed her. He gave her a ton of attention and told her that he loved her almost immediately. J.Lo said this made her uncomfortable at first, but then she fell for him. As their relationship wore on though, the feelings of doubt crept back in. It was the first time I was with someone who wasn't faithful, she told Vibe magazine after the breakup. I was in this relationship with Puff where I was totally crying, crazy, and going nuts. It really took my whole life in a tailspin. Now she grew increasingly concerned about his fidelity, saying, "I never caught him, but I just knew," she said of his cheating. He said he was going to the club for a couple of hours and then he'd never come back that night. Now, Diddy himself has admitted that he was often unfaithful in relationships. In a 2015 appearance on The Breakfast Club, he said his partners would often be frustrated with his behavior. Now, J.Lo later admitted they broke up and got back together far more than the public knew, which honestly isn't healthy at all. But in 2001, the couple ended things for good. It was scary, and we broke up many times before that and got back together and broke up again, and nobody knew about it. Now, it seems like J.Lo is more stressed out about everything regarding this relationship than participating in Diddy's extracurricular activities. Yes, she attended some of his parties, but that was only when they were dating, and she didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. I mean, when J.Lo was asked about Diddy in 2022 when she was on the Wendy Williams show, things got, well, awkward. Wendy asked if she and Diddy would ever get back together, and J.Lo laughed and shook her head as the camera panned to her mother sitting in the audience. Now, J.Lo's mother looked furious as she shouted no while waving her hand back and forth. Now, reposting the clip on Twitter, one fan wrote, "Some of y'all didn't catch J.Lo's mom's reaction when Wendy Williams said this." Yeah, I feel like this says a lot about their relationship. Clearly there was something going on and she didn't want to be associated with him anymore. And the fact that J.Lo's mom doesn't like Diddy, that speaks volumes. Recently, some shocking information was revealed from someone who attended Diddy's exclusive parties. On November 1st, former model Rachel Kennedy appeared on Daily Mail's The Trial of Diddy podcast to share her experience. Now, during her appearance, Rachel revealed that when she met Diddy in the year 2000, Diddy allegedly played J.Lo's music videos on a continuous loop in his hotel room while he was reportedly on the phone with the singer. It was kind of an odd thing to find out that we were watching J.Lo's video, she said, describing it as it's a little bit creepy and very disrespectful. Yeah, I'd have to agree with Rachel on that. Rachel, along with two friends, was invited to Diddy's hotel room for a party after meeting him at Seventh Heaven, a topless club in Japan. She shared that it quickly became clear that this was not the type of party they had expected. Rachel recounted that she and her friends initially found Diddy friendly and decided to stay, even after noticing some wild behavior around them. "We went in, we didn't think anything strange, he was friendly enough, so we decided, okay, we'll just hang out with him," she said. Now, things took a turn though, and it's now believed that this was actually one of Diddy's freak-offs. Rachel went on to say when she and her friends were with Diddy, suddenly one of his bodyguards barged into the room and he looked so violent and angry. He then ejected the women from the room, which came off as a shock to them. She said, "We just couldn't believe what was happening. First of all, how does he have that much access to Puff Daddy's room? That's the first thing I thought. How does he just come in like that?" Looking back at the strange experience, she alleged that the Bad Boy Records founder teaches them the behavior as he's their boss. She She added, "He is the puppet master of all of this, and this is why people think it's okay, because he's teaching them that this kind of behavior is acceptable. He's like a cult leader and these people are his disciples," she said. Now this makes sense, as it's been released that Diddy had plenty of rules his employees had to follow when it came to finding him women. A former party planner who worked with Diddy during 2004 and 2005, who wished to remain anonymous, stated that women attending these parties were subjected to weight checks. "We would do a weigh-in if necessary. The girls had to be young and hot, so I always had a scale nearby in case I needed to make sure. The number was 140 pounds, but if a girl was really tall, there was a little bit of discretion involved," said the planner, adding that other requirements included no flab, no cellulite, no overly pierced or tattooed, and no short hair. Now the dress code reportedly demanded women wear short dresses, with high stilettos being a non-negotiable. No pants, no jeans, no flat shoes. Every girl had to wear a party dress, preferably very short, just enough to cover her butt cheeks but no longer than mid-thigh, cleavage showing. And every single one of them had to be wearing stilettos. That one, there was no exception, high stilettos. The New York Post quoted the planner as saying. Now it seems like we won't find out more from J.Lo regarding this whole situation unless she's called on to testify in court. But with everything that's been released about Diddy, J.Lo is the least of our problems. Ohani Noah, J.Lo's first husband, took to social media to distance himself from any connection to Diddy's freak-off parties, but claimed that J.Lo was one of multiple celebrities present at them. While we do know that J.Lo has been to Diddy parties, as there's photographic evidence, there has been nothing official put out about her involvement in freak-offs. Now in a post on Instagram, Noah shared a list of stars who have allegedly attended Diddy's parties, one being J.Lo. "I'm not on the list," he captioned the post. To those people and media outlets asking if I ever went or participated in that piece of Diddy's freak-off parties, no and no. Never. But my ex-wife, Jennifer Lopez, aka J.Lo, did. Ask her. Noah, who married J.Lo in February 1997, before the couple divorced less than a year later, blames their split on Diddy's working relationship with J.Lo. Now that relationship was created during the making of J.Lo's debut album On the 6th, and it later became romantic, with Diddy and J.Lo dating between 1999 and 2001 before calling it quits. "She went from Jen to being J.Lo, this big business bringing in millions," Noah once told Daily Mail of the shift of their relationship. She had all these new people around her, all wanting to make money off of her. I would call and an assistant would say, "Sorry, she's not available." Now this isn't the first time her ex-husband has called her out. Despite the fact that they were only married for 9 months, Noah has been trying to slander his former flame to keep his name in the news by any means possible. In 2006, he set out to publish a tell-all book dubbed The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller, which Jennifer stopped with a lawsuit, claiming that her ex was breaking their confidentiality agreement. She was then awarded $545,000 in damages, and Noah was slapped with a court order which forbade him from criticizing, casting in a negative light, or otherwise disparaging Jennifer. Then just 3 years later, he made headlines again when he threatened to release videos taped during the pair's honeymoon, showing the pop star in a revealing lack of clothing and in certain situations, especially in the hotel room. And this caused her to file a $10 million lawsuit against him. Meanwhile, during a 2016 appearance on Million Dollar Matchmaker, he dumped blame on his former wife, saying that she caused their split, and claimed, "I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made the choice of her career instead of me." Now, after Jennifer tied the knot with Ben Affleck in July 2022, Noah publicly spoke out about her marriage. "I wish her and Ben the best, but I'm not convinced it will last," he told the Daily Mail that month. "Jen loves being in love, but she's been engaged 6 times. Ben is husband number 4. I was husband number 1, and she told me I was the love of her life." Now, it seems like in the end that he was right. Other stars have also called out J.Lo for her ties to Diddy as well. Elon Musk was speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience when he began talking about J.Lo's criticism of the recently elected president and his remarks about Puerto Ricans. He said J.Lo was like his ex-girlfriend, and now all of a sudden she's warning people about Trump. How many people did she warn about Diddy? Oh, 0. Maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion. he said. He added, people in the music industry had to know that Diddy was doing all those things. Where's the accountability? They had to know. Suge Knight also believes that J.Lo's and Ben's marriage fell apart because Homeland Security informed him that she was on the tapes that they found at Diddy's. It's a white man who got respect in the white world, Knight said on his podcast Collect Calls. I'm quite sure they said, we want to show you some things about your wife. I'm quite sure they headed for divorce because that's a man who had a good life. Great parents, don't spend a lot of money, ain't tripping off paparazzi, he's living his life. He got his own team, she done brought all that extra out, and now that mother effer he want out. Now, on the other hand though, Thea D'Souza, who worked with J.Lo on the 2002 film Made in Manhattan, posted a statement on Threads recently that defended the star and said that she had no involvement with any of this. If you knew Jennifer Lopez, if you ever worked with her like I did, or if you're close with people who are like family to her like I am, you would know she did not have any idea about Diddy. She barely drinks, she's not a partier, she isn't a good time girl, she's a workaholic who uplifts women and who was charmed by him for a brief time in her life. Now, she emphasized that J.Lo does not deserve to be conflated with Diddy's shocking and criminal misdeeds. Now, J.Lo was recently spotted out in public interacting with fans when a paparazzi asked her, J.Lo, do you have any comments about P. Diddy and the allegations? Now, immediately, J.Lo stopped taking photos and giving autographs and left. Many people begged her not to leave, but she didn't listen. She wanted nothing to do with answering that question or being associated with Diddy. Now, with Diddy's recent arrest, people have been speculating on his time with J.Lo. An anonymous source said he was very controlling, he would constantly put her in uncomfortable situations. This is a good girl from the Bronx who never got into trouble or was wild. The source also said he never hurt J.Lo, but she had her longtime manager, Benny Medina, to protect her. Benny would have ended Puffy's life if he laid a finger on J.Lo. But still, Puffy was controlling and demanding. Now, there's been a conflicting report though, as another source who knew the couple at the time said he definitely manhandled her, but it's a little low to bring all this up now. It's kicking a man when he's down. Then there was the nightclub situation. In 1999, Diddy was arrested following an incident that happened at a nightclub in New York. That night, Diddy was with his bodyguard Anthony Wolf, rapper Jamal Barrows, and Jennifer. As reported by Forbes, the incident started with a disagreement and ended with 3 different people becoming injured. After the incident, Diddy, J.Lo, and Jamal left the scene, but the 3 were involved in a police car chase. It was then reported that J.Lo threw evidence out of the car. According to the Washington Post, police found a stolen weapon in the car, and both Diddy and J.Lo were arrested and initially charged with criminal possession of stolen property. The charges against J.Lo were dropped overnight, but Diddy and Jamal went to trial. Diddy faced additional charges of bribery as he had allegedly offered the driver of the car $50,000 to say the weapon was his. Diddy was acquitted of all charges, and Jamal was charged with 5 offenses, but nobody was ever charged and found guilty of the actual incident. But recently, one of Diddy's accusers, Rodney Jones, who filed a lawsuit against the star, claimed that Diddy was responsible for the incident in the nightclub in New York and alleged that Diddy bragged about using J.Lo to smuggle the weapon into the club. He shared that the artist and his girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, carried the weapon into the club for him, passed it to him after he got into an altercation with another individual, Jones is alleged in the lawsuit. All I can say about this is yikes. Now, Diddy has denied the accusations, but again, J.Lo has remained silent. Is there more to this story that J.Lo is letting on? And if she could lie about that, then has she really been involved with the crimes happening at Diddy's parties? There's so much speculation right now, but it seems like we won't get an answer about it unless J.Lo is called on to testify at Diddy's trial, which is currently set for May 5th, 2025.
Jennifer Lopez has been linked to Jay-Z's essay allegations after photos surfaced of her arguing with Diddy on the night of the alleged incident. These old after-party photos of Jay-Z and Diddy have appeared on social media amid horrific allegations. The lady claimed that she was essayed when she was a young woman by Jay-Z and Diddy. In the newly surfaced photo, Jennifer Lopez can also be seen now, and Lopez, who dated Combs from 1999-2001 and were considered to actually be one of the most famous high-profile couples of the Hollywood entertainment industry, hogging the limelight and capturing media attention of the late 90s, is seen seen in photos arguing with Combs at the after party. Now, to give a brief backstory, J.Lo and Diddy dated from 1999 to 2001, and their relationship witnessed everything from glamorous appearances, emotional turbulence, and eventually even legal troubles. And when Diddy was in a relationship with Jennifer, he had an infatuation with Kim Porter, who would go on to be the mother of his 3 children, Christian, and twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah. She sadly passed away in 2018, and that's a whole different can of worms to open, so we won't even get into that right now. So going back to this lawsuit, there was a 3rd female celebrity listed in it, and while there was no suggestion that Lopez is the unnamed 3rd celebrity in the lawsuit, the resurfacing of these photos has drawn renewed attention to her past relationship with Combs. Now, after the case was filed, Jay-Z called the allegations idiotic and heinous in nature in a statement released by one of his companies. He also revealed that he had anonymously sued the woman's lawyer, Tony Busby, in California, alleging Busby was trying to blackmail him by threatening to make the allegation public if he didn't agree to a legal settlement. Jay-Z said a letter his lawyer received from Busby appeared to seek a settlement but had the opposite effect. He said, "It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion, so no, I will not give you one red penny." The lawsuit, originally filed in October, claims that the victim, who identified only as Jane Doe, was unknowingly put under the influence by an illegal substance, she said, after consuming like a reddish yellow drink. She then began feeling woozy and lightheaded and was allegedly essayed by both Combs and Jay-Z. It also claims the 3rd celebrity stood by and watched the events unfold. Lopez has yet to publicly comment on the lawsuit or the resurfaced images. The litigation is part of a wave of SA lawsuits against Combs as this hip-hop mogul remains in custody in New York awaiting trial on federal charges. An updated complaint in a civil case against Combs alleges that Jay-Z and Combs essayed the girl at an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards in September of 2000. Now, according to the allegations, Combs aggressively approached the victim with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her and said, "You ready to party?" Incidentally, in the complaint, the woman alleged that Combs and Carter took turns with her. Many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop it. Colin Rugg, who shared the photos on X, formerly known as Twitter, said, "Here are photos of the party. Jay-Z is in the red shirt. I had previously shared this lawsuit on X, but Jay-Z was not named. He was referred to as Celebrity A. Here are some celebrities who were in attendance at the party: Jay-Z, J.Lo, Ben Stiller." The lawsuit was originally filed in October in the Southern District of New York, and at the time did not actually name Jay-Z as a defendant, though the amended lawsuit says that Jay-Z was identified as Celebrity A on the original complaint. Tony Busby, the Texas lawyer representing the girl who filed Sunday's lawsuit, has filed at least 20 civil lawsuits against Combs, accusing him of misconduct. Busby, in his amended lawsuit, says his legal firm had previously sent Jay-Z a letter seeking to mediate a settlement. The lawsuit says he responded to that letter by filing a lawsuit against Busby and by orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment against Busby and other lawyers in his firm, which the lawyer said was an intimidation tactic meant to silence his client. In a post on social media, Busby said the alleged victim he is representing never demanded a penny from Jay-Z, writing that she only sought a confidential mediation. In the recent days, though, the woman who has accused Jay-Z and Sean Combs of essaying her when she was a young woman shared new details about her recollection of the night of the alleged incident. Now, in an interview with NBC News, the woman, now a 38-year-old mother of 2 who lives in Alabama, said she stayed quiet for over 24 years because she felt no one would have believed her. She said, "Even if somebody found out, who was gonna believe me? I mean, it was the words of 2 celebrities against mine." Among the new details, the Alabama woman claimed that during the alleged incident, Jay-Z placed his hand over her mouth and told her to stop when she resisted. In a statement, Jay-Z denied the new and old allegations, continuing to say that the complaint was filed in pursuit of money and fame. He added, "This incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon." Combs has denied all allegations against him. His legal team said that now a plaintiff of Busby's has been exposed for falsely claiming to be a victim. This is the beginning of the end of the shameful money grab. Combs' attorney said that in a shared statement. And the alleged victim's decision to refile her lawsuit to include Jay-Z was a major development, as he is the only other high-profile defendant named in the case alongside Combs. It's hard to say whether or not Jennifer Lopez, now being dragged into all of this, will or will not talk about it privately or publicly. Many believe she should provide some sort of explanation or clarity around what exactly went on in the photos.
Jennifer Lopez and Diddy were arrested together, but not for the reason you think. With all the recent controversy Diddy has caused, any name ever attached to him is being scrutinized under a microscope, or their past is being dragged back up and picked apart. And that is exactly what is happening with J.Lo. This hasn't been an easy year for the performer. Long-held speculation that she was getting a divorce from husband Ben Affleck turned out to be true, and now people are once again bringing up her arrest alongside former partner Diddy that happened in the 90s. This unlikely couple might not have dated very long, but they certainly kept celebrity gossip publications busy. But no incident with the two was quite as famous as their night out clubbing right around Christmas of 1999. While partying the night away in Club New York in Manhattan on December 27th, 1999, things quickly took a violent turn. Reported at the time was that in the club, Diddy, J.Lo, Diddy's bodyguard, and another music artist named Shine got in a disagreement that resulted in a fight, eventually escalating to people getting out weapons and firing them, injuring 3. Diddy and J.Lo were not harmed inside the bar and fled the scene taking a car. Forbes reports that the couple were being chased by police, and the New York Post reported that the car ran a red light before being pulled over by the police. It was during this stop that things started going south for the famous couple. Inside the car, police found a stolen weapon, the discovery prompting the stars being taken into custody. Obviously, arresting 2 of the biggest names in music at the time was going to cause a stir, and sure enough, all anyone could talk about was this. Present at the station where the couple was taken was retired NYPD detective Derek Parker. After the event, he spoke to the New York Post, giving them an exclusive look into what it was like in the room that night. He said there were all these high-profile lawyers barricaded in the station house waiting to talk to the desk officer, and further went on to recall that J.Lo was first handcuffed to a pole inside the station and then later held for about 14 hours in detention. Of course, like I'm assuming anyone who just experienced a club uproar and arrest like she did, the retired detective said J.Lo appeared distressed. Thankfully for her, she was released after the 14 hours and cleared of all charges. The Jenny from the Block singer didn't often personally speak on the ordeal. However, she did make one comment about the situation in an interview with Elle, saying it was a complete nightmare from beginning to end, and that she was scared to death in the car and had absolutely no idea what was going on. No one did. Though J.Lo was of course present at the scene, how involved she was is still up in the air. Earlier this year, new details came to light when Rodney Lil Rod Jones Jr. filed a civil lawsuit for non-consensual relations and harassment, but it also seemed to potentially reference this 1999 incident as well. It claimed that on the day Homeland Security raided Diddy's home, he displayed his guns and bragged about getting away with using these weapons against people. It went further, saying that Diddy also confirmed to those present that he was responsible for the New York incident with the other rapper Shine. Not only that, but that J.Lo was the one who carried the firearm into the club for him and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual. One of the victims of the incident, Natanya Rubin, has been outspoken from the start about the events that took place that night. Since the beginning, she has been very clear with her recount of the evening and adamant that Diddy is responsible for the projectile that hit her face. Though J.Lo was cleared of any charges, Diddy wasn't at first, so a trial had to take place that lasted a few weeks. In addition to the incident at the club, prosecutors also alleged that Diddy and his bodyguard tried to bribe the driver of the getaway car, $50,000 in exchange for him telling the police the weapon was his. Rubin did testify as one of the witnesses at the trial. During her testimony, she claimed that she saw Diddy pulling out the weapon with his right hand and then very soon after feeling immense pain in her face that later turned out to be caused by the firearm. Of course, you might notice that this would make J.Lo being in possession of the item and handing it to Diddy improbable, but if Rubin insisted she saw him pull it out, but it's not impossible as it could have happened before the altercation began. In the end, Diddy was acquitted along with his bodyguard. The individual that did not get cleared of all charges was Shyne. The young rapper was convicted of assault in harming 2 bystanders and sentenced to 10 years in prison. In the end, he only served about 9. Since his release, Shyne has taken a very different career approach. In 2009, the man was deported to his home country where his father was actually prime minister. Leaving his rap career behind, he decided to follow in his father's footsteps and got into politics as well. Successfully, I might add. He was voted into the country's House of Representatives in 2020. Though it is over 2 decades after the incident, Natanya Rubin is still fighting for justice. She joined Elizabeth Vargas Reports for an interview earlier in the year in which she shared that she still has 9 fragments of the projectile in her face. She shared further details about the rough night, that at the time and throughout the trial, one of the most important things to her was simply getting back home to her family. A follow-up interview revealed that Rubin was nervous even years later about sharing her story, even going so far as to ask for a deep investigation to be conducted in the event that she does go missing. This was happening right around when everything first hit the fan with all that Diddy stuff, so her fear is not unexpected. She also said in the interview that she wouldn't mind if the case was reopened, even going so far as to say that as long as it didn't cause any health complications, she would be willing to have a doctor remove a part of the 9mm projectile in her face to be used as evidence in court. After learning about what Rodney Little Rod Jones Jr. had seen that night, that J.Lo was the one that brought the item in, Rubin seemed more and more on board with reopening the case. She said, "I couldn't bring in a comb. I would absolutely, unequivocally like the case reopened. It needs to be reopened." Diddy has already had a rough year with the legal system after his alleged misdeeds have come to light. New allegations against the music star continue to pop up, and some are quite bizarre, like how he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Combs' lawyer insists he doesn't know where exactly that large number came from, and explained the amount away by saying the man simply buys in bulk, referencing the chain store Costco, claiming that people walk out of there with items bought in large quantities all the time. But Costco was not about to let themselves get roped into this situation and actually came out with a statement that they don't sell baby oil in any US location. It's not yet clear if the December 1999 incident will be re-examined in court as some of the victims wish. The only trial confirmed for the music artist now is the one on May 5th of next year. A gag order has been suggested for it. It would prevent attorneys or prosecutors from discussing anything further about the trial with the media.